Hi guys, so when the UK left the European Union and Great Britain exited the single market, we saw the consequences of non-tariff barriers. Delays at the ports, mountains of paperwork, and utter chaos. Years on, the situation hasn't really improved. Now, some businesses have adapted to the Brexit red tape by either hiring new staff to help deal with the bureaucracy, some have moved all or part of their operations into the EU, while another cohort has just abandoned the single market completely. While the UK's position post-leave has been extremely expensive and a logistics nightmare, what Donald Trump is doing is Brexit on steroids.
Just describe for us, let's take a beat, really frame it for us, how much volume has just dropped off in the last few weeks?
Yeah, about a third of the import volume, which means give or take about 50,000 20-foot equivalent units gone off the arrivals coming in next week.
So from next week is when you expect to see this really hit?
That's correct, and that matches up. The announcement's back on April 2nd, then on April 8th, a little bit of a change on everybody ex-China, Mexico, Canada, and those arrivals are coming at us this weekend.
We'll of course dedicate time to your port, but I'm just wondering how you're anticipating this rolls and ripples through the economy from here, how it hits trucking, when this turns up on the shelf. What's the distance, the time from when you see a drop-off in volume and when we, as consumers, see the shortages?
Right, so CEOs are telling me, hit the pause button, right? I'm not going to import anymore at these kind of prices. Let's wait and see. I don't know if it's going to be 2 hours, 2 days, or 2 weeks till I get some clarity. Then, hiring. Off the table for right now. Capital investment, pause. And the retailers are telling me that realistically, with even the 10%, I'm going to have to pass it on to the consumers.
So how much is this really coming from all over? It's not just about China. This is about really global trade coming to a standstill until there is a much greater degree of certainty and a much lower tariff rate than even the baseline that's been put out there.
Yeah, when I was last with you all, Lisa, I said global trade's going to slow, economies will follow, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Back in November, so many of us were wringing our hands about 4% inflation. We've just added 10 percentage points to imports coming out of Southeast Asia for our port, and these unbelievable numbers out of China.
How much?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, at least with Brexit, businesses could somewhat plan for the future. They knew, okay, the EU is not really going to go anywhere. The relationship with the UK, between the UK and the EU, is sort of done and dusted at this stage. So the bureaucracy that we need to complete in order to sell our goods into the EU is not really going to change. But the difference between Brexit and Donald Trump is that even if Donald Trump removes the tariffs tomorrow, businesses can't be sure that he won't put them back in place the day after. So they can't plan for the future. So they're not going to hire staff. They're not going to provide overtime. They're not. This guy from this port is saying that we're actually going to have to lay off staff. We're going to have to reduce the hours because there's less stuff coming in. And each container needs to be processed. It needs to be moved around. It needs to be loaded. All of this. And this is going to have an impact on the greater economy. But the worst of all of this is that we don't know what Donald Trump is going to do. Even if he removed the tariffs, there's no guarantee that he wouldn't put them in place again. This is insanity. This is going to cost jobs. It's going to add to inflation. It's going to damage consumer confidence. People are going to buy less. Buy less means less money in the economy, more unemployment, and it creates a type of cycle. And all the while, instead of having stability, instead of having a leader saying, look, I'm actually going to try and fix the problem, I'm going to undo the damage, Donald Trump is completely unhinged. So who is going to invest in the US, even if the tariffs are removed? We've already seen China pivot away from the United States because it doesn't trust Donald Trump. Trump is constantly talking about, well, China needs to get on the phone to me. But why would they bother? There's no guarantee that you would respect any agreement. You haven't respected previous agreements. So I think for the next number of months, there's going to be a lot of pain until businesses in the US and exporters from other countries until they actually believe that Donald Trump is serious about undoing the damage. But at the moment, he's not even talking about that.